Welcome to this overview session of the Level 4 Diploma in Education and Training Management. My name is Christina. I'm a faculty member of the UK Group of Education, and today I'm going to give you a detailed summary of what this level is all about. We're going to focus on exploring each of the units that are part of this level in more detail so that you know exactly what you are going to learn by signing up for the Level 4 Diploma in Education and Training Management. The primary objective of this level is to develop your practical teaching skills and prepare you to work in a variety of educational contexts. This level is going to give you an introduction to the relevant education and training principles and practices. It is going to also give you both theoretical and practical knowledge that you can then apply in order to be able to design training programs, deliver training programs, engage learners effectively in the training process, and to also evaluate the effectiveness of all these training and development activities that you will create, deliver, and then use in order to help people learn and perform better if we're talking about delivering such learning activities within a work context. So this level is going to give you a really good foundation as to what would be expected of you as a training and development practitioner. So let's have a look at the 6 units that are part of this level, and let's go through each one of them. The first unit is Principles of Education and Training. The second unit is Design Education and Training Provision. The third unit is Engage Learners in Education and Training. The fourth unit is Plan, Allocate, and Monitor Work in Own Area of Responsibility. The fifth unit is Evaluate Education and Training Provision. And the final unit is Professional Development and Reflection in Education and Training. As you can see, all of these units are giving you 120 credits in total. You would need 120 credits in order for you to obtain this qualification. So let's have a look at what each of these units is all about. Unit 1, Principles of Education and Training. The aim of this unit is to give you an understanding of the main skills that you will need as an education and training practitioner. So this unit is all about the core knowledge that you need in order to develop and work within the field of education and training. Let's have a look at some of the things that you are going to learn as part of this unit. This is not a list that includes absolutely everything, but we have summarized some of the main things which gives you a really good overview as to what to expect from Unit 1 and the consequent units. So let's have a look. One of the things that we are going to be focusing on as part of Unit 1 is exploring the purpose of education and training for learners. It is important for us to know, as practitioners, why we are creating those education and training programs. So what is the purpose for our learners? Well, one of the main things would be gaining knowledge, especially if they're looking to perhaps change their job or enter a new field of work. It could be that we are delivering an educational program that will enable them to obtain a qualification, similar to what we're doing at the moment by sharing this content with you and explaining what this level is all about. So it could be that the learners are looking to gain knowledge so that they can progress within their career, or it could be that you as a training and development practitioner will be delivering training and education programs or activities as part of your role within a company or within an organization. Then one of the main reasons why learners would attend such training and development or training and education activities would be to improve their performance. What you always find, or what you will often find in companies, is that many companies have their own teams of training and development professionals that are dedicated to creating the necessary training programs so that the performance of employees can be improved. So another reason could be so that people can have their performance and productivity improved, and this is why they're attending such training and development activities. As I already mentioned, it could be that some people would sign up to attend courses and classes because they want to progress within their career, or they want to change their jobs and obtain a qualification after they complete a certain course or a certain certain level of a program. It could be that certain companies invest in training and educational programs so that they can prepare their future, they can ensure that they've got a pipeline of future leaders and people who could enable the organization to continue to grow, which is known as succession planning. So this could be another reason. Or it could simply be upskilling. You could be working as part of a human resources team, for instance, and the learners would need to be upskilled. What that means is that the training and development programs that you will be creating, their primarily purpose would be to ensure that the team members that need upskilling are equipped with the knowledge and skills they need. So these are all potential reasons why people would sign up for attending educational and training programs or activities. And depending on where you currently are within your career, or what you're trying to do in terms of the next steps in your career, it is important to know what is the main purpose behind preparing and delivering delivering training and development activities. So we always start with the learners in mind and what the end objective for them is. And of course, that will be something that will be different for each one of you, depending on why you're signing up for this particular level that we're covering now, and also depending on what your future career objectives are. So we are going to explore in more detail what the role of education and training is for the learners as well. Also going to talk about is the purpose of education and training for companies. As I already mentioned, a lot of companies have their own internal teams of learning and development and HR professionals. And the main focus of these teams is to upskill the workforce and to improve the performance, because when the performance of employee improves, the performance of the overall organization also improves. It could be also for the purpose of quality assurance and compliance. For instance, if we've got a team of employees that are working in a role which involves a lot of compliance, so they have to comply with certain regulations, then we will need to prepare training and development activities that allow them to comply with what's expected of them. Which kind of brings me really nicely to the topic of health and safety, because health and safety is an example of compliance training, which you have probably gone through in some of your roles. Again, it could be that the company is looking to promote from within and identify people who would be ready to take the next steps. So as a training and development practitioner, you could be involved in designing activities, learning activities that can help people progress to that next level internally within the organization. So when you are designing and delivering training and development programs, you always have to ask yourself, what is the purpose for the learners? Why are they, why are they here? Why are they signing up for these activities? And also, what is the purpose if you are working within a company? What is the purpose for the company? We have to always have those two stakeholders in mind, the learners and of course the company, if we are working for a company. Okay, so we are going to explore that in much more detail at the actual unit when we start the classes. Okay, so what we're also going to talk about is the different environments in which we facilitate training activities. We're going to talk about conferences, we're going to talk about team building activities, and we're going to explore all those different environments in which training happens, because depending on the objective of the training program and depending on the environment, we'll then need to adapt not only our delivery style, but also we'll need to ensure that we have all the resources that we need for the training and development activities to be successfully conducted. So we're going to explore the different environments and different ways in which training is facilitated and also received by the learners. One of the essential things that you'll be learning as part of this level, and if you decide to have a career within the learning and development field, is how people learn, because we all learn differently. And one of the things which is going to be key for your success in a learning and development role would be understanding how people learn. So during Unit 1, we are going to talk about the different learning styles, and this is just one of the modules that we are going to explore. And that particular model gives you 4 different learning styles, which is visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. So while you're listening to or watching this video, I would like you to think about, how do you learn? What is your learning style as a practitioner? I personally am a kinesthetic learner, which means that I like to learn by doing. So by being able to identify the learning styles of our students, learners, or the people that you're delivering the training to, if you're working for a company, then we can ensure that our training programs and the way we deliver them enable people to learn effectively. Ideally, when we design training and development programs, we should make sure that our content is delivered in a way that allows people with various learning styles to effectively receive the content and learn it. So this is something which we're going to talk in much more detail during Unit 1. We're also going to explore different models of how people learn, so this is just one of the models. Okay. Another tool that we're going to look at in more detail is the training cycle. This is something which every learning and development practitioner should be quite comfortable with using, because it is essential when it comes to designing, developing, and delivering training and development activities. So if you're new to the training cycle was, this particular approach was introduced by Buckley and Capo in 1995 and allows practitioners to effectively design, deliver, and evaluate the effectiveness of training programs and activities. As I said, this is a tool which is used by learning and development practitioners irrespective of which level of seniority they work at, right? You could be a learning and development manager, or you could be a director. The training cycle is something that is essential for us learning and development practitioners to know how to use, because these are the 4 stages that underpin the effective training and development, delivery, and provision. So as I mentioned earlier, it is important to really have this core fundamental knowledge of the stages of the training cycle so that we know how to effectively design and develop training. So throughout this session, I'm going to be making references of the training cycle because this is something which we're going to be looking at in depth during Unit 1. Okay. We're also going to explore the concept of differentiation and how and why that matters when it comes to facilitating training. We already spoke about learning styles, but we also have to think about learning needs. Do our learners have special needs that we need to be taken into consideration? For instance, do they have disabilities? What are their learning preferences? And based on all the information that we have about our learners, we can ensure that our training approach is effective and we are delivering the content in a way that is easy for them to learn using the training cycle as well. So this is something which we're going to be talking about during Unit 1, the concept of differentiation and why this is so important. We're also going to talk about the roles and responsibilities of training and development practitioners. And we're going to cover the different ways in which you can develop within that particular role. And we're also going to talk about the individual responsibilities within your role as well. Designing, delivering, and evaluating training is part of it. But also we're going to talk about leadership and how leadership is key when it comes to being an effective training and development practitioner, health and safety. We're also going to talk about strategic planning and all these key aspects that are part of the role of an effective training practitioner. Because when we think about the fundamental core knowledge, it is important that we know all the key principles and the main theories that we can use, for instance, different learning style approaches and theories, so that we can use that when designing training, and also knowing the different stages of the training cycle, which can then support us in ensuring we aren't missing any steps and we are thorough in our approach. But at the same time, our role is much more expansive than this. So we're also going to talk about the different aspects of our roles as well, and how important quality assurance is, for instance, and quality monitoring. So this is going to be quite interesting for you, because this unit 1, is going to give you a very good understanding of what to expect from about yourselves and your own journey of improving your skills and securing that next opportunity which you want to secure, and also really thriving in your role as a learning and development practitioner and really being effective at what you do. When it comes to the other units, let's have a quick recap here before we wrap up this overview session. So the very first unit was principles of education and training, and we've already covered that, but just very briefly, the very first unit was all about the core knowledge and skills that you need as a training and development practitioner.